You're listening to Through It All, where stories come alive and faith finds its voice. Each episode, individuals who've encountered life's highs and lows will be heard, and through it all, they witness the undeniable faithfulness of God. This isn't just about sharing stories. It's about celebrating God's enduring love and transformative power of His grace. Welcome to Through It All. Sitting across from me, a good friend. Today's guest, Kyle Sheaffer. Kyle, man, it's so good to have you, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, we got a little history. And so we've been talking about getting together for a really long time. And so we've kind of walked together, a couple of years now we've been in that group together?
Yeah.
Has it been a couple of years or not? We don't have to have exact.
About a year.
Yeah.
About a year.
So, we're walking together, studying with some other guys. And so, Kyle, I'm really excited to have you. I'm blessed that you would come because I know you work nights, right?
I do, yes.
So it's 9:16 in the morning, and you've been up for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I work 10 to 6:30, so.
That's not, I don't know how you do it. I have a couple of friends that one of them's a truck driver, and he drives nights, and he's awake when no one else is. And yeah, so I'm excited to talk to you. We're going to talk a little bit about your past, and we're going to talk a little bit about just how you got here and how long have you been at North Point?
My wife and I started attending in 2022.
That seems to be a common thing. Most people are like somewhere around COVID or right after COVID. Yeah. That's like the big deal. So anyways, so tell me a little bit about you. You grew up in the church, non-church. Tell me what's up.
Yeah, I grew up in a small church just outside of Gobles. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows pretty much everything about everybody. And I also went to Seago Baptist Academy from kindergarten till 7th grade.
Okay, so you grew up in the Baptist tradition, correct?
Correct.
Or fundamentalist or evangelical or whatever you want to call it. So Gobles. Did you go to Gobles High School?
No, I went to...
Oh, yeah, that's right. You just told me that.
Yeah, I ended up going to Allegan High School, but I started out at Seago Baptist from kindergarten until 7th grade.
Mm-hmm. Did you do all the Vacation Bible School, Awana, all that kind of stuff, or did you do...
So the church that I went to had a brigade program. It's kind of like Boy Scouts, but with a Christian-centered focus on it.
Okay.
And yeah, that was incredible though. Incredible growing up and having that there to kind of set the base. I think back to the men that poured into me when I was growing up and the time and things that they spent on me, taking time out of their life to spend it with a bunch of crazy teenage boys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
good upbringing then?
Yeah.
Tight with the parents?
Yeah.
You have brothers and sisters?
I have two sisters. I have two younger sisters.
Okay. So the older brother protecting them?
Yeah. Well, protecting them, but sometimes maybe I should have been protecting them from myself because
you were the guy that they needed to stay away from. Yeah, brotherly and sisterly love.
Yeah, I mean, we rough house, and obviously,
right. So I know some of your story is a great upbringing.
Yeah,
and gave your life to Christ at a young age, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so my cousin started going to Seago Baptist the year before I started going. I turned 5 in September, so I didn't go till I was almost 6 when I started kindergarten. Mm-hmm. He started a year ahead of me, and he went there, and he comes home, and we were having a sleepover. I still remember it, like. Mm-hmm. having a sleepover. We're hanging out in my bedroom, and he's like, "Hey, like, do you want to accept Jesus in your life?" I mean, he's 5, 6 years old. Comes home and tells me this, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." You know what I mean?
Right.
I always looked up to my cousin. You know, he's a little bit older than me, so he was. I looked up to him, and so I was just like, "All right, man. If my cousin, if Ryan says this is something I should do, you know, all right, let's go." You know, and he kind of walked me through it, you know, and I think you talked about it, like how there's like almost a push to go and witness to others. Like there's that push. We talked about it, I think, the other night, Tuesday night, when we were talking about, like, that was like, so I think Otsego Baptist was like, "Hey, go out and
Share the gospel.
Just share the gospel." And he talked to me about it. Obviously, at that age, I didn't know what I was being saved from. I didn't know, you know, I knew,
Right.
you know, but I firmly believe that I was wholehearted when I said the prayer at 5 years old. That,
Yeah, it's amazing because I talked to my wife. She had an experience where she went to like a vacation Bible school or something like that, and she was young, you know, and it just made sense to her. And I think it's different stages. I think sometimes we get in trouble when we start predicting someone's salvation, the authenticity of that. Or they're too young, or they're too old. You know, I don't. You know, and this is what I trust, is that when God moves in that heart, okay, something started. The full understanding. I remember in seminary we had this. What was the name of that? It was like this is a statement: faith seeking understanding. That faith precedes the full knowledge of something. Like, by faith, I trust that Jesus is Lord. By faith, I believe He died on the cross. By faith, doesn't mean that I understand the fullness of what the Scriptures will teach and how they're gonna, show all of this. So we start with faith. That's what precedes everything. So, how things go? What happened in between there? You went to high school. You did all kinds of stuff, and then you got married or something like that.
Yeah. So, I went to high school. I graduated from high school. Got a job at Walmart.
Let's just pause for a moment. What did you do, man? Like at Walmart? Were you like a cashier or what?
I actually started, there was it was called the Radio Grill, and it was a little restaurant, and I started in there, and then I ended up going out to the TLE and doing oil changes, tires, stuff like that.
Oh, so you worked at like the Walmart service center.
Yeah.
So you've been down in the pit, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's up with all whenever I had my oil change there a long time ago, and like they got this whole like system, man. Clear.
Oh, yeah.
Open. Like they're saying all this stuff.
Yeah,
man.
plug tight, filter tight, no leaks.
Yeah. That is awesome, man. I'm like, I thought I was impressed that they were doing it, man.
Yeah.
Filter tight,
Yep.
filling. I'm like, what's going on, man?
Yeah, there's definitely a system to it. Yeah.
Dude, I've never met anybody. That's awesome. So what happened, man? You get a job.
So I was working at Walmart, and this girl comes up and it's like hands me a note with her number on it. It says, "Call me." Okay.
Is this an oil change?
No. This is when I was still in the Radio Grill.
What's the Radio Grill? Tell me.
It was a little restaurant.
A Radio Grill at Walmart?
Yeah, it was like where the Subway the Domino's is at now. It was like it was a Walmart branded restaurant, I do believe.
You're kidding me.
No, yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was right here.
You're talking right down the
yeah, right here in Plainwell. Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I just made all kinds of little food, But yeah, so she came in. She'd come in on her breaks because she was a cashier. Handed me a note. Said,
employee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So It's kind of a funny story. So I'd worked there for a while. You get an hour lunch. And my dad's like, hour lunch, hour off. That's just enough time to get yourself in trouble.
Right.
So what did I do? I went over to a buddy's house on my lunch, and I was heading back to work, hit a patch of ice, flipped my car over. So I didn't have a car. So my grandma was giving me rides back and forth to work. I thought, man, I love my grandma, but I don't want her always
cramping my style, man.
yeah. So this girl told me to call her. I said, man, I bet she'd give me a ride home. So I asked her, hey, can I get a ride home? Oh yeah, sure. She lived in Otsego. I lived all the way in Allegan. So she drove me out to Allegan. And after that, we started dating. And
you married that girl, didn't you?
Yes.
When did you get married?
So I got married May 20th, 2006.
Okay. All right.
And we ended up having 2 daughters together.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 amazing daughters together.
Mm-hmm. You always speak highly of them.
Yeah, they're awesome.
It's amazing, man.
They're awesome.
So tell me what's next in that story.
So next in that story, I guess backtracking, ended up getting a job at Paragon Allegan. And that's after that we got married. That was 2006. So I started at Paragon in 2004, and we ended up getting married in 2006. And I mean, everything was just going fine. I mean, we had kids, everything like that. I was kind of moving up in the company a little bit, getting different roles and stuff like that. And so we ended up buying a house here in Plainwell, and things were going well. And then I just got hanging around probably with the wrong. I got hanging around with the wrong group of people.
Where are you churched? Are you doing?
So at that time,
where's your faith at and all this? Like you and the wife.
So at that time, we weren't practicing. We actually started coming to North Point when it was in the middle school, but it was one of those kind of sneak in the back door, sneak out, sneak back out. I helped with the chairs, but that was as far as it went. I really didn't get to know anybody, didn't really get involved with the church. It was just like something you just do on Sunday, go to church. And she knew some of the people that were going to the church had kids the same age as my oldest daughter. And so she was like, yeah, let's go check this out. So we went to the middle school, and I think the main reason I think we were going was because she had friends that had kids that are the same age, so like, oh, we can bring Grace, and Grace can play with the kids in the
affiliation or familiarity.
Yeah. So so we were coming, but like I said, it was in on Sunday and off for the rest. The rest of the week was just living normal life.
So you grew up pretty rigid, correct? Like,
yes.
This is the way it is.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of legalism, a lot of laws and rules.
Yeah. You talk about, I don't remember, I think it was one of your podcasts that you mentioned not being able to play cards, right?
Oh, yeah.
My grandma wouldn't let me play solitaire on the computer because if I played solitaire on the computer, it was going to lead to gambling.
We'll leave it at that. I know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, roller skating is the devil's business, man.
Yeah. So there was no.
So you said that you got hanging around with the wrong people. Yeah. So you're going to church, like periodically.
Periodically,
For what reason?
Man, I think a lot of it was because I was raised in it.
So obligation.
Yeah. It was like.
Is your heart into it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You think that happens a lot nowadays?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think and when you really think about it, you wonder why. Like, I don't know. Like, why go without having your heart into it?
Well, I mean, if you know that like there's rules,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the. I've mentioned this, I'm sure, numerous times on the podcast. The idea, like this idea that we're building up this pile of good stuff. Like I went to church, man. I gave some money. I helped pick up the chairs when we were in the middle school. I didn't. I didn't drink too much. Like we're doing all of this all the time. It's really filthy rags. It really means nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's, my heart and what I've seen in you is a tremendous change. But I don't want to get too far ahead. So you go into church, but you're hanging around with the wrong folk. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I got hanging around with people that, they like to party it up and drink. Go to the bowling alley, get drunk at the bowling alley, go to IHOP at 3 a.m, act a fool in IHOP,
Right.
Just doing stupid stuff, just stupid things in IHOP.
How come?
I feel like the rules have been pressing down on me for so long that when I was kind of able to get out and do my own thing, I feel like I just I went wild, I'm gonna go do my thing, all these rules, I can't keep up with them, and if I can't keep up with the rules, if what I'm doing is wrong, and I break this rule, then it breaks all these other rules. Like, why am I trying? I felt like, I just felt like it was just too much to try and live up to the rules. And I feel like that's one thing I realized now is like, don't focus on the rules. Focus on your love of Christ. If you focus on Christ, you're going to do what you're supposed to be doing out of admiration for him.
Yeah.
Rather than just, I got to follow the rules.
Well, that's the difference between religion and relationship.
Yeah.
Information and transformation.
Yeah.
Two different things, man. I mean, we need the information. You need to know that Jesus is, Lord and Son of God. I mean, that information. But I think when we fall in love with that stuff, we don't understand, the heart of the matter. We look great, we feel great. And I've been there where the rules, it sounds like you took on an identity. Okay. Yeah. So I had a friend of mine who was telling me one time, he said that there's a difference between saying, hey, I'm trying to quit drinking, as an example. Mm-hmm. He said, and then saying, I'm not a drinker. They're identity things. Okay. One is an attempt, the other is an identity. And I think sometimes when we, sounds like with you, you're just like, hey, man, I'm a sinner. I mess up. I might as well just mess up good. So you're taking on an identity like that. Yeah. That's weird. Not weird, common, I should say. I'm sorry. But yeah, tell me more. So marriage is going good. What's going down?
Yeah. So there was things in my marriage that weren't going good. Yeah, just certain aspects of it. But I went to work and I complained. I complained about it, to people. And this is where I was running with the wrong crowd, mainly, I think, because I didn't have somebody giving me godly advice. I went to work and I said, man, I'm really upset with my wife today. She made me mad about this or something. And they're going, oh man, you're just miserable all the time, aren't you? Maybe you should just leave her. Rather than, somebody that, that's where I think the importance of having accountability, partners, somebody that's going to speak into you in a godly manner rather than, and there was a running joke at work that was, why are divorces so expensive? Because they're worth it. People thought they'd think it's funny. it makes my stomach turn when I hear it now. You know what I mean? It's like, that's gross, man. Like, why do you even?
Yeah, but you're different now.
Yeah. But
Like
yeah,
you look
so,
back then, what'd you think when they said stuff like that?
I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was funny, but it didn't. I just kind of blew it off, But I feel like you listen to that long enough, though. Like, hey, man, you're miserable. Like, you're mad again today. Like, you're upset about something again today. Like, you're miserable. And they repeatedly every day are like, man, just leave her, dude. Just leave her, like. And, I didn't have any solid Christian friends that I'd talked to, and reached out to about it. It was just me going to work and just complaining about.
Did you leave her?
Yeah.
I don't settle with you, does it?
No.
You got a lot of shame with that?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. I feel like in the recent years, I've kind of been able to let it go a little bit more than but I did. I carried it around with me for a long time.
Yeah. Like I know we've talked about it before. And divorce, you got divorced?
Yes. Yep.
And it's like that scarlet letter.
Yeah.
And you think God redeems and forgives?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What happened to your kids in that whole process?
They went with their mom, and then I got to see them once a week, and then on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest was, honestly, she was only a couple months old at the time. So she doesn't really know any different. My oldest, she still has memories of when we were together. But my youngest, yeah, she was like 2 months old at the time.
So you get divorced.
Yeah.
And still buck wild? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went even wilder at that point in time, I was like, oh, man, going to go out there and just live it up, I guess. The problem is living it up led to other issues, They led to money issues and anxiety issues. And, yeah, I think carrying around that shame, I think it just all kind of came crashing down.
Mm-hmm. So you're at this point. I mean, not the same now. Somewhere we got to come to a point where God gets a hold of your heart or something, man. What was it that brought you to the point where you just... Because you're prodigal, right?
Yeah.
You're running.
Yeah.
You got all the money. You're doing what you want.
Yeah.
You're saying what you want. You've taken on this identity of, hey, man, I'm a sinner, so I'm going to live like sin. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do this. And, yeah, I remember all those things, but, man, I've been so pressed down. I'm just going to free myself. Lose your marriage.
Yeah.
And so that just fuels it again.
Yeah.
You messed up, so I'm going to be messed up.
Yeah.
Living into that sinful identity.
Yeah.
So somewhere in this whole thing, what kind of turned you?
Well, I was running on autopilot. I feel like I was just making decisions that I don't even know where they were coming from. And I was seeing this girl, and it wasn't going well. Mm-hmm. And I saw her with her ex, and I confronted her about it. And in the confrontation, I ended up getting myself in some trouble.
What kind of trouble?
I ended up getting arrested.
For what?
Domestic violence.
Oh.
I confronted her. I had a cake that I'd made her, and I pushed the cake in her face, thinking like, "Oh, I'm going to show you."
So you have a domestic violence.
Yeah, so I get arrested, and yeah, I went. I never in my wildest dreams would I think that I'd get arrested over a cake, but
I'm trying to be serious right now. I'm gonna be like, that's a pretty deadly weapon, man.
yeah,
Must have had a lot of frosting on it or something.
yeah, it was that cream cheese frosting.
Plugged it. All right, man. Sorry.
But no, you're good, man. You're good. But yeah, so I ended up getting arrested, and I was called. The officer called me and told me that there was a warrant out for my arrest, and I went and turned myself in. And everybody's saying, "Oh, you'll be in and out, no problem. You know, you're cooperating, everything's good. You know." And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, man, how did I end up here?
Mm-hmm.
How did I get to this point in my life? I mean, other than up until that point, the worst I'd ever had was a speeding ticket, you know?
Right.
Here I am, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, what is going on? And I remember the next thing you know, I mean, it was early morning that I turned myself in. And next thing you know, it's lunch is coming around. And I'm like, man, how long have I been here? There's no clocks anywhere. You don't know how long you've been in there. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, how long, what's going on? You know, I'm thinking to myself and I'm like thinking to myself, man, I had it together at one point, you know, like when I was going to church and when I was in a relationship, when I had that relationship with God, I wasn't doing crazy stuff like this. I wasn't getting arrested. I wasn't, you know.
What's the downward spiral?
Yeah.
Like as I'm listening to you, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and that's the old statement, man. I can't remember a long time ago. I think I remember some of it. Sin will take you where you don't want to go. Mm-hmm. It'll keep you there longer than you want to stay, and it'll make you pay a price you can't afford.
Yeah.
And so it just keeps hooking.
That's that spot.
So you're at that. Is this a rock bottom spot for you?
Yeah, I mean, because leading up to that, I had panic attacks. I had huge anxiety issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell people, like, I was so broke because I wasn't going to work that, like, I couldn't feed myself. There was nights that I would try and decide if I wanted to eat that night or buy a pack of cigarettes. And most of the time, the pack of cigarettes won. And I mean, I tell people I'd eat sleep for dinner. I'd just go to bed. Couldn't eat. Couldn't afford to. Yeah, and I couldn't take care of my kids. I'd go to my parents' house. You know, my kids thought it was awesome. Hey, every time we're with Dad, we go to Grandma and Grandpa's house. Well, yeah, so you guys could eat. They didn't know that. You know, I didn't tell them that, but that's what I was doing, you know. And that was all leading up, you know, to that jail cell. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, man. And next thing you know, it's shift change. I'm watching the officers that I turned myself into clock out and go home, and new officers are coming in, and I'm like, man, what's going on? They tell you, you know, you get your one phone call. Well, I didn't get my one phone call. I didn't even get my one phone call. And I finally said something to them. They're like, yeah, you get your one phone call. And I called my ex-wife, and she came and bonded me out of jail. Yeah.
Wow, man.
But
so help me out here, man.
Yeah.
Okay. is that the start of the turn, or I need you to get me?
Yeah.
Because I look at you now and I nickname is Rev, and we're going to talk about your hair and all that stuff in a second because you got long hair for a reason.
Yes.
But
so yes, that was the start of the turn. I broke down, and I thought, Lord, if I can just get back to you, I can get my life back on track.
Isn't that crazy, man? Because you think about it, like I spent forever trying to come up with a name for this podcast. Like I must have had 100 names. And the one that stuck was Through It All.
Yeah.
And that's the common thread.
Yeah.
So this little kid, when he's 5 years old, I'll give my life credit. You know, the seed's planted, and then it's watered, and then it wilts, and you know, I don't know. And then you're here, and you're making those attempts, and then all of a sudden you hit rock bottom. Is that somewhere, you know, common grace, God is moving in your life. And all of a sudden we wake up. So you jail celled up.
Yep.
Your ex-wife bails you out.
Yep.
Then what?
And at that point, I knew, like I said, I needed to get back to God.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just crazy. It was a crazy whirlwind. It's like trying to remember, but so in all of this, my sister was working with a girl down at the company store down where I was working, and she kept telling me that I needed to hang out with this girl. And this is all right in the same time frame. This is 2015, and so I'm out of jail. I'm getting that stuff figured out. My sister says, "Hey, why don't you meet me for dinner?" I said, "Okay," you know. So I met her down for dinner, and she goes, "Oh, by the way, my friend Rachel's coming." I said, "Okay." And so this girl walks in. She sits across from me, and we're sitting there, and we got to talking, and things like good conversation, and it's still crazy. It's a crazy story, you know, because like we had good conversation, and then went out to a movie afterwards, and then after that we went our separate ways, but we kept communicating back and forth. And then we kept talking, and things progressed. And I said, "Hey, if we're gonna date, like this is what I need. I need you to be on board with. I'm going back to church." And she was like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." Okay, that's easy, you know. So we went and tried out Radiant Church. My sister and her husband were going there, and we went to Radiant, and we enjoyed it, you know. But it still was that walk in the back door, sit down, listen to the sermon,
Disappear.
and disappear. And we ended up, like I said, we started dating in 2015. We got married in 2016, so moved pretty quick. And we kind of bounced around. We checked out Radiant, and we kind of were like, but I kept telling her, I was like, I need to get serious about this, because if I don't, I do crazy things. I fly off the rails. And I said, this is crazy. I said, my ex-wife and I used to go to North Point. I said, and I really enjoyed Pastor Jason. I enjoyed. He's
overrated.
Get out of here.
Honestly.
No, the way that I need that challenge. I need to be challenged, because if I don't have something to set if I don't have a goal, I'm just out running.
Do you think we choose churches today on comfort or challenge?
I think a lot of times we choose them on comfort. I don't think people want to be challenged sometimes.
Well, conviction's not fun.
Yeah.
But it's what brings transformation.
Yeah.
Like if you, the Word of God is a mirror. It's like, hey, here's God's holiness. Here's what you struggle with. So you can do something about that. But I think it's so hard. That's like admitting.
Yeah.
Like I have to admit that's me. I have to admit, oh, I'm a hypocrite. Or I do this too much or that. And I don't know. I think the spirit conviction is a gift. It's like if you're doing something, I look at correction. Like as crazy as that sounds, I'm kind of a fan of it.
Yeah.
So, like if I know that, I shoot a lot of like skeet and stuff like that, sporting clays and whatnot, and I'll go out with these guys that are kind of like experts, and they're like, "Hey, man, do you know you're doing this? And that's why you're missing." And I'm like, "Nah." Like if I said that to them, I'd never say it to them.
Yeah.
Because I want to get better. I want to improve. Yeah. But it's never like, "Hey, here's all the great things you're doing." It's always those little things. I don't know why I went off on that short sermon, but it felt good. Yeah. I love the sound of my own voice.
That's good, man. That's good.
So keep going. So you're coming out of comfort, you're looking for challenge.
I'm looking for challenge, yeah. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that accountability. And so I finally, convinced her. I'm like, let's try North Point. She wanted to go to a big church because she wanted to be able to disappear into the church because that's what she was used to. I'm from a small church, so I was like, hey, this is a good medium. I was like, plus, like I said, I like Pastor Jason, and so we ended up coming here. And the first week we came here, Pastor Scott was preaching, and I'm like,
who that?
Who is this dude? Yeah, I was like, man, I talked to Pastor Jason, and we got this guy up here.
I remember you coming, man, and I'm like, I know that face, but it had been a long time since I saw you.
Yeah, I mean, it'd been 12 years.
Yeah, and your hair, let's talk about that. What's up with the hair, man?
So my dad told me that the girl that I was seeing that got me in all this trouble was my Delilah. And I thought, man, like
biblical story of Samson.
Yeah.
Delilah.
And it fits. And I thought, man, like, yeah. So I started growing my hair out, and it's Samson's story of returning to God. Because after he did what he did, and they cut his hair off and they gouged his eyes out and they put him into slavery, when his hair grew back and he returned to God, God gave him the strength to finish his job.
So that's why you have the long hair.
And
is it a reminder?
It's a reminder that I was lost and I came back.
Because your hair is what, down the middle of your back?
Yeah. And it's
for a good listener.
It's a good conversation piece too, because if somebody asks me, "Hey man, why is your hair long?" You ever hear the story of Samson? And if they haven't, man, I can tell them that story. Like, yeah, man, this guy, he was the strongest guy ever. God gave him incredible strength, and he could defeat armies and kill lions with his bare hands, and then he got wrapped up in his own way is what he did. And
is that what you feel like you did?
Yeah, absolutely. I got in my own way. Yeah.
So So you're on fire for Christ now.
Absolutely.
Like you're not even like just every time I see you, man, you're growing, and you're in this group with me.
Yeah.
Who's Jesus now? I mean, in the past, I'm sure you had a picture of church and Jesus and God and all that kind of stuff. Who is he now?
Now he is the Lord of my life. He's my Savior. He's my King.
On every front?
On every front.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Was it a long journey back, or was it real quick?
Yeah, it was a long journey. Yeah, it was. I mean, like it's hard to really portray the timeline. You know, like how long it actually was. I mean, because I started falling off when I was a teenager. You know, when I got my driver's license and I didn't have to drive. I didn't have to go to church. I didn't have to. You know. That's when I started going out and kind of running around doing my own thing. Like, hey, I got my driver's license. I'm going to go do whatever. And I think, you know, we talk about guilt, grace, gratitude, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, everything I do now is it's out of gratitude. Absolute gratitude because God, he pulled me up out of the pit. I was at rock bottom. With all the everything that was going on, I was at rock bottom. But also I realized that rock bottom is where Christ is, because he is the rock, right? You build your house upon the rock. So when you get down there to that rock bottom, if you build from there, you're building on the rock.
I've never heard that before. That's your own analogy?
Yeah.
Because you talk about him being a firm foundation.
Yeah.
A cornerstone. I mean, there's all kinds
He talks
of
about
metaphorical pictures.
Yeah, he talks about the parable of the man that built his house on the sand and the man that built his house on the rock. And for years, I think I was living on that sand, you know.
Well, if you were building anything.
Yeah, it's true.
You were running around in the sand. You weren't building anything, you know.
Very true, very true.
Like Silver Lake sand dunes, you know, running around over there acting a fool. But yeah. What for like the listener? Because one of the things I didn't want to do in this is I don't want to have like just be crazy about the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes we get so caught up in the story.
Yeah.
Like I had assault with a cake.
Yeah.
You know, a deadly cake.
Yeah.
And then I went to rock bottom. You know, and I think sometimes as believers, it's a good reminder of how far God's grace, like how he snatches us up. Mm-hmm. You know, and everybody's got something, you know. I was close, or I lost someone, and I wondered where God was and everything like that. What would you say to somebody today that's kind of floundering around, okay? That they're kind of, man, I grew up this way, but I'm kind of toying with this, man. What would you say to them? Toying with faith.
Toying with faith?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd tell them to stop. I'd tell them that...
Easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. But you get what you put in.
Explain.
So when you're going to church on Sunday and you're leaving and you're not doing anything, you're not living that life, you're not... There's nothing in that. There's a hollowness in that. Because you're just showing up, going through the motions. You're not living into anything.
What's it mean to live into?
To live into is to surrender, give it all.
Yeah, so surrender, like, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're good.
I'm going to hammer on you, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think it needs to get deeper than that. It's like we all, not, you're doing fine. You're doing wonderful. But it's like, what does that mean? What does this mean? You know what I mean? Like, we got to give it all. Well, what is all for you? You know, what is surrender to you? Like, what's that look like? You don't mow the lawn on Sunday? Or is that a big surrender? Or what is it, man?
No, it's giving God the glory that he deserves.
How do you do that?
I mean, if I'm telling my story, it's telling him that I didn't pull myself up out of the mud. I didn't do this. I didn't make the choice to save myself, because I couldn't. I didn't save myself. God saved me. He pulled me out of the muck and out of the mire. There's no way I could do that on my own.
Right, so you're giving him glory.
On my own, I make stupid decisions. And when you're living for God, he sets your path straight.
So give me an example of surrender today. What are you going to surrender today? How are you going to live for God today? Like, nobody asks you about your faith. Nobody, because the Bible talks about, 1 Peter 3:15 talks about, be always ready to give an answer to anyone who asks about the hope within you. So nobody's going to ask today. Yeah. How does Kyle live for Christ today? And you kind of gave a little bit to it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be grateful.
Yeah.
But like, I think it practically speaking,
I feel like showing gratitude in situations where people probably wouldn't expect gratitude to be shown. I mean, when I tell my story or something like that, and I'm grateful for all the trials that I went through, people are like, why would you be grateful for that? And it's because it shaped me, and it proved to me that God was there the whole time, and he was walking me through this. He didn't leave me. And I don't know, I feel like when you're living into it, you have a joy about you. And joy it's easy to see, I feel like. How do you keep your cup full? It's amazing to me. Like, when I ask people this, okay? Yeah.
I was talking to a couple of guys that were on the roof checking this morning when you first came in. They're from one of the people that built the church, good friends of mine. And so they were talking about that. And we were talking about how easy it is to say the right things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have a language. And one of the guys said, churchese. I'm like, what? And I've heard that before, but I haven't heard it in forever. We get all the right language, like joy and peace and hope and gratitude and this and that. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
How's Kyle not go off the rails now? What is your discipline?
My discipline is keeping that relationship with God, and by talking to him.
So you pray a lot.
Yeah, I think, and I think I try to. I was telling my wife this before I came in here, because we were talking about it. And we were talking about, people like to resonate with Paul, and people like to resonate with. I like King David, man, and you've mentioned it before. That guy, he was all over the place, but he spoke to God with such honesty, like, God, where are you? God, why have you left me here? And he wasn't afraid to tell God exactly how he's feeling, because God already knows. He already knows how you're feeling. And so I find that just walking across the parking lot, I like to park in the back. I get my steps in. But walking across the parking lot, I'm talking to God the whole way across the parking lot. In the car on the way to work or on the way home from work. Just a lot of times I don't have any radio on or anything like that. I'm just talking to God. Being in the Word. I have an app on my phone that it has a daily Bible verse, and I like to, when it comes up, I like to dwell on it and think about that verse. And if sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it's like a verse it shouldn't be read, I think, on its own. And you're like, what does this mean? And then that drives me to dig into further. Okay, I need to read the context, see where this is, because what did it spit me out this verse today for I don't know,
So it sounds like what you're doing is you're practicing his presence. You're acknowledging it. Yeah. Like James said, I think it was James that pray without ceasing. And going through all of those motions, I always tell people this: if we're waiting until Sunday for a feeling, that's we come Sunday to celebrate and worship what we know to be true 24/7. So this is an opportunity when God's people gather together to be reminded of whose we are. We belong to Him, but also to give great praise. And so I think that's something that's transitioning and happening here. It's not about gimme, want, gotta have. It's about praising Him. Like you said, He's the one that snatched me up out of this. He's the one that brought me back. He's the one that broke me. I think about the prodigal son. Mm-hmm. It says when he finally he was going to eat the pig slop, right?
Yeah, that's where I was at.
And it says that he came to his senses. And I was like, man, I think there's a point, and if we're like all of a sudden we're so smart, we're not smart. We make the dumbest. I always tell people, you're sitting next to your best friend and your worst enemy. Who's that? You. Mm-hmm. You make the smartest decisions in the world and the dumbest ones too. And when you surrender to that, I've seen, I don't know I didn't know you during the messed up stuff. Yeah. But I've watched you transform and continue to do so. And I'm hoping that our conversation, because I'm sure there's somebody that's right there right now. Yeah. So what would you tell someone, kind of in closing, what would you tell someone who is sitting where you sat, done the dumb stuff, built up the wrong, what would you tell them is the path out?
Man, I'd tell them that you become who you surround yourself with. And if you really want to get out of it, get yourself some solid friends that are godly friends. Get yourself some godly men or godly women and surround yourself with them. And ask them for advice. Don't ask the world for advice, because it's not going to give you the right answer.
Mm-hmm. What else? What if they don't have a godly friends? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you had connections before you went crazy.
Yeah.
Can I add to your story?
Yeah.
Because I think what people need, is they need community.
Yeah.
If I don't have any accountability, no community, no nothing. So I always tell people, hey, you start that.
Yeah.
How do I start that? I don't know. Maybe come to church. Maybe you go to what, 2-3 Bible studies or something?
Yeah, I got a couple that I go to, yeah.
Yeah. So those are like your meetings.
I'm telling you, man, I got a friend that we were partying it up, hanging out together, and I invited him to the men's group because he was like, man, I gotta get away from this life. And he'd seen me here at church, and he's like, man, what do I said, man, come to a men's group, come check it out. And man, I was thinking, I don't know what this guy's gonna think of this, but I'm gonna invite him. And he loves it, man. Loves it. He has grown so much. And we joke, man. We sit there and talk to each other. Like, I think it was last year, St. Patrick's Day landed on a Monday. And we were joking, man. Wow, man, we're in church on St. Patrick's Day. Usually we'd be out, in our past life, we'd be out looking for the green beer, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But here we are in church, getting closer to God rather than out drinking at the bar.
Yeah. It's hard. I haven't been able to come up with, like I think about, like, I have friends who've, I think maybe have struggled, like, not maybe, but have struggled with narcotics and alcohol and all kinds of stuff. And it's interesting how, like, they and many people, it's not until you finally come to that point where you're around other people and you admit what you are, mm-hmm. And the consistency of that is so vital. And I think most of us are addicted to the flesh. We're addicted to ourselves,
Yeah.
And I know, like, when I meet with you guys, and we've had 2 guys in that group, man, they've given their lives to Christ, maybe like in the last couple months.
Yeah.
One of those guys, first Easter ever as a believer. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, whole life. Getting married now, he's right. God's snatched him up. But I know how vital that is. And it sounds like your story was kind of like when I tell people, when people choose to be away from, to isolate, this is one of the struggles I have, like with live stream. It has its purposes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But live stream is not an alternative. It's a convenience if I'm traveling or, I'm out. Mm-hmm. So I kind of hear you saying, like, you got to be connected, man.
Yeah. I mean, iron sharpens iron. And you come in and you have that community, and it's family, man. It's family. It becomes way more than just going to church. Mm-hmm. You're coming and you're seeing your brothers and sisters, man, and it's incredible. It's like just that there's a feeling of joy. You show up and people are like, oh man, how was your week? And they give you a hug, and it's like that's incredible. That community, and having that, I feel like helps you keep your focus.
Right.
And
there's a lot of things distracting us all week long.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, it is good having you. I'm like, man, I love you big. Like, you've been a blessing to me. I look forward to seeing what else God has to do and is going to do in your life. And I'm glad he brought you back here. I'm glad that we can walk together. And that, that's my encouragement, is somebody hearing this today would say, hey, I can get out of, they would come back, run back. And it doesn't have to be here. It doesn't have to be there. But I think if we're out of the fire, man, we're gonna burn out. When you're a lone log, I remember like I was really young. My father explaining fellowship and the importance of it, or something like that. And you take a log out of the fire and you let it sit there. It'll smolder and stay hot for a while, but sooner or later it'll die out. We need each other to keep each other on fire. And so I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your vulnerability. And I'm hoping and praying that we just continue to grow and the group keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the Lord uses you to reach other men for Christ, and uses your assault cake story along with the air, man. You're going to be in business. So, Kyle, thanks for spending time with me, man.
Thanks for having me here.
All right.